And we are on. So once
Hello,
again,
hello, hello, hello.
hello,
The
hello,
fifth
hello.
episode
Keep
already.
keep the
So,
Venezuela out of this. Oh, rats! I said I was not going to sound shame you. I'm sorry. I just
yes,
messed it up. So
that's why I didn't
cancel
say
me.
anything. I
Cancel me.
just,
So so once again, thank you everybody. Welcome back to We Are On, where we have I want to believe good talks and good discussions,
at
civilized discussions.
least we try. I mean,
Yeah, sure,
we,
sure,
we,
sure.
we're trying our
And
best.
well, we try to bring it as a habit. A reminder that what we are doing over here is we have these presumably civilized conversations about how to tackle things in life, how to consume media, and that kind of deal. Um, we um, we try to take an example. For example, today Giovanni is going to bring us some kind of a topic, and then we work around that topic, not necessarily about the specific example. It could be we have treated like, for example, national cross treaties, right? But we don't talk specifically about that. We talk about why is this important? How do we um, use this information, and how does that affect us? So we try to do that, but also at the same time we place our disclaimer that we are not experts in these kind of topics for the most, and so we might say things that are inaccurate sometimes, which we'll always appreciate if someone drops a comment over there, um, and to try to give us a little bit of feedback. Also, we are not trying to impose a definitive methodology to what it should be done, right? We're trying to bring a little bit of the conversation, and we try to give uh, some approaches that we consider can be productive. And also, well, because things are kind of sometimes big, we might miss some examples. So you can always drop us something on in the comments again. Okay. So for today, let's see what
So, yeah.
Giovanni brings us.
So, I bring to the table a topic that recently came out in Italy. So, which is the reduction of the voting age to 16 years old people. This time, I mean, it's nothing new. This time, it was the brand new Democrat Party secretary to bring this topic up, and he proposed to reduce the voting audience. And so I wanted to take this example in order to see how it will influence us and how we can use this information to understand something that perhaps many times we are not aware of. But before going into more in depth of the topic, let's see the most curious articles we have seen this week. So
Okay.
uh, this new uh, this
So
new
you give me that.
concept we
So we'll
we
try to bring
started. So
very quick over here then, right? So let us bring. So the first thing that it's from you. So an
mhm.
artistic utopia on a remote island. So what's this thing about?
Well, that's basically a video. So it's not an article properly article. It's a video which I found very cool because basically what happens is, if I don't remember wrong, is in Nicaragua, in a little tiny island, Nicaragua. There was this guy that arrived, and since there was no wealth, no institution, nothing, it started this something that turns out to be a kind of a social experiment in which they use art as a way of reducing social inequalities.
Hmm.
So they basically provide different from people living there. they start painting and building things. So that's the big deal about this article that came to my mind. The use of art as a
To reduce
reduction to social
inequality.
inequalities.
That's the weirdest thing
Because
I ever
kind
heard.
of cool. Yes, yes. So
Okay, I have a couple of friends that will throw that thing on my face. Like, you see, it's worth it. It's worth it. Okay, the second one. So,
consume
ooh,
art.
again, COVID. Oh yeah, you're always so
Yeah.
fashionable. COVID.
Hmm.
5,000
Yeah, I mean,
pounds fine for people going on holiday abroad. Sure. Tell us.
that's just something that is very actual. So it's we keep up with the news, what's going on in the world, and so what just made me stop and think was, damn, I will get fined £5,000 if I go out of my country if it's not for some proven needs. That's basically it. I mean, they say you can leave the country only for work reason, for health reason. I mean, the main reason,
Okay. Okay.
So it just
Yeah. Well, it's
got
interesting. Yeah.
stuck me
Weird.
in that thought, like being
I
fined
would
for
love to
leaving the
see
country.
if, how that goes.
North Korea is making it.
Yeah. Okay. The third one. The
Mm-hmm.
NHS.
Yes, the national
Rolls capsule
system.
cameras. What?
Okay.
Wait. Excuse me. What? What's an
Sorry,
NHS?
the national health system, right? The national health service. So
Ah. Okay.
in UK,
Capsule
they
cameras to test for cancer.
it's mind blowing, isn't it? You see, you just read the title and it's mind blowing. So they
Yeah. Yeah. I
basically
mean,
are.
it's. I've seen movies about this. They're not cute.
You see?
Okay. Okay.
So well, the title says it all. I
Yeah.
mean, I think it's
It
curious
is kind
to
of
get this information.
technological, kind of cool thing. Okay, fair enough. And then we go to mines. So, I mean, technically, I have to say, technically, this was trendy stuff. Well, at least
Uh-huh.
that I pay attention to this. How did this world has got into Wales? So, I mean, first of all, this is not the first time that has happened, but it's always interesting when some species that typically belongs to somewhere, some other habitat, uh, ends up somewhere else, right? So yeah, what I liked about this, I mean, sure they go into more serious tone because they talk about, okay, it could be because it was pursuing food or whatever. No, but they straight up also said like it's probably that the animal slept on the fell asleep in a piece of ice and it took him like so it's like because we're talking over here that is like thousands of kilometers away from its natural habitat.
Well,
Uh,
that's
the
that's quite a lot.
second the second one is also kind of trendy. It's about the volcano, like very cool shooting. I mean, I don't know if I can play this over here. Uh, yeah, it's not loading. I have terrible internet. I know, yeah. So
Mm.
so yeah, so it's all this kind of thing, right? Like it's so cool seeing like these flights that drones allow nowadays, right? And it's great. And
Yeah.
the cool thing is that it's not such. I mean, it doesn't look that aggressive. The volcano. I mean, God forbid, it's
Well,
one of
yes.
those from your region, right?
In in the eyes of the drone,
Yeah, right. And
it looks
finally,
welcoming.
yeah, and finally, this one that is more weirdish. I mean, I like these approaches of companies and how I find it kind of funny how companies use they need to innovate not the company but the concepts that the company uses. So in this company is talking about like instead of approaching to like to goals and that kind of thing like pillar like every company has pillars or values or whatever. They call them primary colors. Yeah. So they when they want to tackle something about a project, this is it. So this is what they do. So the primary colors is data, content, messaging, automatization, reporting. So it's like, okay, it's cute, right? Like it's the way that people can focus.
Can
But I
see
find
it.
it
Yeah.
funny because it's the same as with Walmart, for example. Walmart doesn't
Uh-huh.
have workers. Walmart has associates, and it always brings a smile to my face. Like, sure, associates, perfect.
Yeah. Keep
But
believing
it,
it.
yeah. But anyway, so those were the articles that caught our attention. There were more things for sure. Uh, but let's go ahead and
Let's go down to
enlighten
business.
us.
Mhm.
Give us some
Okay,
knowledge.
so yeah, I will try my best. So, as I was saying before, the topic will be the reduction of the voting age to 16 years old. So it's nothing new. For example, in Italy, it has been already proposed, I guess, back in 2017, 2015, also by different parties as well. So it can be seen that is a common interest shared by people with different ideologies. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
As I said, it's nothing new, not only for Italy, but also in other countries like in Europe, if I'm not wrong, in Austria. They were already voting at 16, at the age of 16. In Germany also for some elections, so not all of them, and also in other parts of the world, like in Brazil. Please forgive me if I'm saying anything wrong, and Argentina. So, but obviously, when this came out, I don't know in Mexico, if
It's 18.
uh,
As far as I know, it's 18.
18, right?
Yeah,
Okay. So anyway, so when this every time this comes out, there are people that go in favor and people that go against and think, no, you are wrong in thinking you are, and you can be in favor and blah blah. I mean, there is always this kind of battle between what is wrong and what is right, and it most of the time, like I want to recall a bit the episode we did last time about the reaction to emotions when we have information, because many times, and we will see more in depth later on. The position people take about this is very emotional. So they think they shouldn't reduce the voting age because I think it's like that. Blah, blah, blah. It's like an emotional reaction to the information. So mainly the main topics that people in favor bring are the one that is more statistical is that it seems that the youngster, let's say the teenagers, generally increase the turnout, so the number of people that go voting, if compared to young adults in a certain election aspect. So that's the first um, positive topic. Then we have the fact that teenagers should be able to represent themselves with the election, also because they already, for example, in Italy, they somehow can be married, so they can get married and they can start a business.
mm.
So people say if a teenager could somehow get married and could start a business, why shouldn't he or she or they or whatever be able to say what they think what is politically right for them to obtain?
Yeah. Like
And
if
the
they
last,
if it like it's like if they are providing to the country, right? Why wouldn't that they should have a say in the decisions of the
like,
country?
yes, like very very basic example is if they are allowed to pay taxes,
Yeah.
how can they be allowed to provide that thought on politics? So that's the yeah.
That's
And the last
interesting.
one is the fact that they can reduce the weight of the population, so the weight of the votes of of that part of the population that is somehow kind of less involved into society, which generally are the elderly. So they are less involved, not because they are worth less, but because they already did a lot. Okay, so let's say the teenagers have to get into society, and they are getting into society, and they are starting to do all the experiences that elderly already did. And so the idea of those that are in favor is also this: so to increase the power and the weight of the youngsters, or of the younger people. But then on the other side, there are people that think that these people that are in favor are completely wrong. And they generally bring up two main topics, which you could, I guess. The first one is that at 16 years old, you are not mature enough to have your own idea on many social aspects. And so you can't actually be aware of what will be your vote, or what is your view on many things. And the second aspect is, which I think is kind of curious to analyze, is that they are too much at that age. They are too involved and too influenced into what is the family idea. So generally, when a 16 years old person will vote what the parents
family,
are voting. Yes, the family vote.
That's
because they are still
thought.
too much influence. Yeah, this is interesting. So yes, these two are, let's say, the people that are in favor and the people that are against them. And it has been a going on and on issue. Do you have any? This actually, I'm curious if you have any. So I'm always bringing up Mexico because I guess it's the one in which you are more involved. Do you have any? Do you have any?
I cannot say much about that. Yeah. Do I have what?
So, like, if you have any idea on that, like, if it happened, that they brought up this proposal, or...
Well, no. I have no idea whatsoever. But what I can tell you, and I think this is the most important part that I'm getting right now, is the fact that people being influenced by something, right? So there are people saying, you asked me about Mexico, right? There are people who are saying that right now that the current government is providing a lot of social programs, some kind of like scholarship type things to a lot of teenagers and so on. Yeah. Obviously, when that happens, it comes with all the propaganda from the government, right? So what it seems that they are trying to do is obviously associate, like, daddy government is feeding you, and it's probable that they eventually will comply and then will align to whatever party the government was. So that's something that I heard. It sounds a little bit logical. I can even tell you that there's a very, not related to voting, but similar theory to what Google is doing with their Chromebook tablet, the Chromebook laptops, right? Like, they are so basic and cheap that they have been able to push them into elementary schools in many places. And someone throw a theory that is because Google is just getting ready all that generation to when they are grown-ups, so which is the operating system they were using the most when they were teenagers and that, or younger, right? So that's a market that they are ensuring from early on, right? So those tactics are apparently not new, right? Now, being influenced it's also something that we always need to be careful, right? Uh, there might be some studies saying that, especially in teenager years, you tend to be more rebel, right?
Yeah.
And you try to go into the opposite. That's why what you said a moment ago about
About
the parent thing, it makes sense. At the same time, I don't know if it's a cultural thing also, right? But yeah, it's an interesting thought. Sure, we need to keep in mind that this is politics, so I would assume I will look skeptical and all of that. But just to close this thought, regardless if someone is a grown-up, yeah, because then we can discuss what is a grown-up, right? What is the most important part about hearing this kind of news and that kind of thing is that the responsibility that everybody, yeah, like you, me, parents, and whatever, the responsibility that we have for education in very idealistic, again, setting a good example, right? Because especially nowadays, and this is just an opinion or a belief even, I see that the behavior between a 30-year-old and a 60-year-old in topics of politics and that kind of stuff, they behave pretty the same, you know?
They are quite flat. There is a flat line.
Yes,
I can
yes,
see
and that is and that is because I think we are all have access to the same information, right?
Yeah.
So now,
and I think and I think also is that the information provided, while there maybe there was less, and also there were informations that were in discordance one to another. Like if I think about right wing and left wing, they would be more one against other, and you could direct your point of view to one of them. Right now, also the information when it comes to politics, perhaps this is just a feeling of mine, is more flattened. And so the information we receive, first of all, we receive basically all of us the same information, and also they give us the same information. So it's more flattened. The ideology is less intense and defined.
So accessibility is not an issue, right? Accessibility is not an issue. So what we need to be careful now is especially how do we act with someone that is not in our, let's put it this way, generation, right? If we keep treating someone like this traditional that, oh, you're young, you don't know anything, right? That devalues the other person. And the immediate reaction that you can get from something like that is a rebound, right? And if you wanted to give something across, it's put it this way, is I saw a video once about a person who was holding a sign of this last year, like Black Lives Matter, right? And I don't know if the guy was African American or whatever other type of American. But what was happening is that the video was cut out in a way that you see a lot of white Americans passing by and saying all the arguments or even insulting the person, right? So for me, both sides are wrong over there. Yeah. Because you are just throwing an argument and then it's some kind of accusatory. Right now, that sentence seems that certain groups take it as an attack, you know? So what do? They counterattack. And it's sad because at the end, it's almost like you are even proving the issue, right? Proving the point of the issue that the person with the sign was doing, right? You don't have to react in that way, even though is what people say, that if someone is offending you, like if someone is saying things in words and whatever, like just let it go. Yeah, Like
Mm-hmm.
words in theory do not damage you, right? I mean they can, but I'm
Yeah,
just
but
speaking broadly,
generally,
right?
yes, that just
So
can.
in this part, like if we want to set, if we want to ensure, if we're going to open more responsibilities to a sector that seems to have more emotional variability, we need to be uh, putting ourselves in a higher standard, you know,
Mm-hmm.
so we can be things to be look forward to, and that's exactly what happens a lot of the times with I don't want to say artists, but with singers, footballers, and that kind of stuff, right? Like there's a reason why little kids follow those people, right? So we need to be doing the same thing, like now, because we're
We're
close
running
to
out.
the time. No, we're fine. But the concept with all of this that I'm saying is the concept of being a grown up or mature enough for these kind of things. It's trickier right now. We need to distinguish between knowledge and wisdom. Yeah. And teenagers might get, for the most, they might have a more knowledgeable situation, but they might lack wisdom. Where
Yes.
in the other side, you have someone who has knowledge and wisdom but is refusing to go to take something else, which kind of also links what we were talking last time, is a grown up can consolidate itself and have a belief, and you will not
Mm-hmm.
move that person from that belief.
Well, yes,
And that's something that also needs to be changed in terms
yes,
of
of course.
attitudes, right?
Like,
The policy is one
if
thing. The policy will go through depending on how politicians work. But at our level, if a policy is approved, we need to know how do we have to react or re-educate our population, right?
yeah,
So
I
I'm living
agree.
like
I
that.
mean, that's yes. I think you touched some very interesting point, and as you said, you can have for example, a 16 years old might have a lot of knowledge and not wisdom, which might occur into today I vote for this. Maybe in 10 years I will think, oh shoot, if I could go back, I would vote into someone else. This
Let,
is experience and this, sorry.
let me cut you very quickly in that example.
Uh-huh.
That thing that you just mentioned has been kind of interesting for me with the people from Mexico, because I
Mm-hmm.
have met already people who voted for the current government and they regret it. But here's the thing: they say it and it's completely valuable. It's like it was the option that I saw it. I saw
Exactly.
that and it was the right one. Yeah. So you cannot.
Exactly.
We need to be also comprehensive. That maybe one time you see
That's
something right that is right and
yes, yes,
oops.
yes, yes. That's I think is the main pill to bring from this topic to get from this topic from this episode. The comprehension,
Comprehend.
right?
Comprehend.
Comprehension. Uh-huh. Comprehend. Yeah, thank you. To
English.
comprehend um, other people's shoes. So I think it's important not to put yourself as if you were that person. What I mean is that there are dynamics. There are dynamics. Okay, I will cut it out real quick. There are dynamics that we might not see, and we end up comparing ourselves to how we were 16 at 16 years old, and we compare us to 16 years old right now. But
Mm.
the things are changing. The maturity that was considered uh, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, might be
Ouch.
different.
Ouch. Ouch.
Exactly.
Ouch. Cut me out, man.
It might be different. And so society was different. The needs, maybe the basic needs were the same, but more in general, they were different. And so I think comparing and thinking that you have the truth to know what is right for that in this right topic for that 16 years old person to be willing for, that's the main problem. So we should focus very much on trying to understand the other shoes without bringing our shoes, just to put ourselves in them shoes. Okay, and then understand. And if we consider ourselves wiser than them, try to give them our opinion, and that's it, without forcing anyone, without thinking that you have the right and the truth, which is better than them. So
that last part is do not approach these topics, like try to not approach these topics in terms of I'm right, you're wrong. That
yes.
That's my closing.
That's it. Okay. That's our closing, because we are fucking late, and I have to learn how to spell comprehend.
you do 151. So if that is the case, once again, thank you everybody who has watched, listened, or whatever.
And see you on the next episode.
See you in the next episode, sure. Links to the things that we were talking about, the inspiration from this chapter, and the articles that will be on the description. Drop likes, comments, subscribe, and that kind of jiggity jabbity jibby.
Yeah. Say whatever comes to your mind when you see us.
Yeah, and we appreciate all of you who managed to listen and support us. So until next one.
And we were on.
We were on.